To do their wedding.
You can just do it now if we want.
Did these guys come to see you?
No, they're going to come here to get married.
You're coming to get married?
Oh my
Congratulations!
All three of us.
Hey! It's all legal now. How are you, Richard?
Good, Gino. How are you?
This is brand new, huh?
This is brand new. This was set up by the town
Yep.
as a town information center for the town building and the town offices.
All right.
Because there's so many of them spread out over in different locations, and people come in here and looking for the tax office or parking permits or the police station next door, which is long gone.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah, so.
We should have done this a long time ago. I think that's a great idea.
No, it's a great idea, because before people would come in, they'd come into the town clerk's office, the town manager's office, and, looking for all this stuff. So this is a volunteer thing. I think it's a great idea.
So you just volunteer?
Yeah, but what they do,
Yeah.
they give you a senior tax write-off. They deduct it off your tax.
What kind of a tax write-off are we talking
No,
about?
I don't, it's not very much.
Oh, okay.
It's just an hourly thing.
Well, that's still great.
But we did put together this directory, and it has all the town and county, it's a building index, and where most of the town departments are,
Okay.
frequently asked questions, their locations, because look at all the locations you have of the town.
Exactly.
Look at this, so.
Everything's just pretty much simple?
Yeah.
How often are you here?
I'm here 2 days a week, just for a couple of hours each. And then there's another volunteer that comes in, I think, Tuesday and Wednesday. So it's not fully staffed, but
Right.
but
But this is brand new. It's just started.
it's brand new. It's a great idea. I think it saves time from all these other offices
Yeah.
answering these questions.
Yeah. Most people could
because-
go online, I guess, and try to
They
figure
could,
it out.
but people come off the steamship and they're looking for bus schedules and bathrooms and stuff like that. We're not replacing the visitor center. It's all for town, town business, town.
Right.
Yeah.
So what else are you doing?
Well, I still do still acting as a therapist.
Yeah.
Doing alcohol and drug counseling and.
Do you do that for the
marriage.
town, or do you do it privately?
Just private. I'm in private practice out in Cisco. Yeah, and I do a lot of relationship counseling too. I'm a marriage and family therapist. So those seems to be the two areas.
Would you say that you're an expert on relationships?
Ask my
Kinda
gir-
like Dr.
ask-
Phil?
Ask my girlfriend if I'm
Well,
if I'm an
I would, if
expert.
she was here, I would ask.
I know. Yeah. Well, I think being in the field, you're cognizant of things more so.
I want to ask you about this. We got a nice subject that
Right.
people always find interesting.
Yeah, right.
How have relationships changed, or have they changed?
Well, they haven't, and I mean, the basic human instinct of love and connecting and so forth hasn't changed. I think it's just the format of it has changed. More people live together than unmarried than married today.
Yeah.
So that has changed. I think economically, women are more liberated from the women's movement, and so they're more independent. There's not a lot of women were in marginalized relationships, and they were there because of the economics, and that has shifted. More women work today in the workplace and make as much, if not more, sometimes than men.
But does that help make a
Well,
relationship better?
No.
And if you were to ask people today, are
Yeah.
relationships healthier today than they were in the old days? What do you think people would say?
Well, I would say that I think you're going to get a mixed bag. I think
On one hand.
On one hand, I think the women's movement was obviously needed.
Yeah.
Because women were so marginalized in relationship. But then it always hasn't been a good thing for relationships too.
Yeah.
I know I'm going to hear from women on this.
No.
But it's.
I'm glad you're bringing it up.
Yeah, it's true. It was the women's movement was almost too successful.
Yeah.
In some aspects regarding relationships. But,
Would you say because, why would you say that?
well, because people found quick exits out of their relation instead of staying and working on their issues. they would get out because they had the economic means. I think a lot of people were trapped in marriages in the olden times, in the 40s and 50s and so forth,
Yeah.
because of economic reasons. And today,
You think it's only economic?
but
What
no.
about the line between, masculinity and femininity?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and how, as women became liberated,
Right.
maybe they were crossing over a little bit.
Well,
closer
I
to-
think guys got lost in the shuffle. I think guys, there was never a men's movement because men didn't need a movement. They were always in power anyway.
Right.
To be frank with you,
Yeah.
I remember when Robert Bly, Iron John was. I think it was
I remember that.
19, and everybody thought, oh, that's the beginning of the men's movement. What men's movement? Men didn't need a movement; they were in power anyway.
Right.
But I think once the women's movement was so strong and was so dramatic that a lot of guys got lost in the shuffle. They lost what their roles were as men, and providers, in the family.
And the way the world has become so small now.
Yeah.
It's becoming smaller all the time.
Yeah.
And we're finding that sometimes when we go to these other countries,
Yeah.
where culture is different,
Yeah.
especially in a Muslim country.
Yeah.
And we try to tell them, listen, this is the way we do it, and
Yeah.
maybe you should think about doing it the way we do it.
Right.
And
yeah.
what happens?
Yeah.
That doesn't always work, does it?
No.
Can we learn anything
Well-
from a Muslim situation in the way they deal with their relationships?
Well,
Is there anything to learn from that?
Well, I think that's a big question. I think the other question is that this love business in relationship is a relatively new thing. It's only been around about 150, 200 years. Prior to that, people got married because there were arranged marriages. There was to consolidate power. It was because the families were of the same social, economic background or religious background.
Yeah, right.
So there's a lot of arranged marriages in collective societies, India, China.
That's right.
A lot of them worked. Yes, there were some abuses too. Granted, there were some abuses.
Oh, yeah.
But they worked because there was a lot of there was a lack of differences. Economically they were the same level. Religiously, they were in the same level as that, and relationships grew from that.
And you kind of knew your role in the relationship
Yeah,
too.
right.
I mean,
Yeah.
don't you think that a relationship, you almost have to? It's not that difficult.
Well, I think.
I mean, to understand.
I would disagree
the
with you.
role.
I think relationships are difficult.
Okay.
And I think modern society,
Do we make them difficult though, or
we do, but we also take on a lot.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, right.
Because look at the role of women today. They're expected to be moms, expected to be career women,
Right.
take care of the house,
Right.
be good mothers, and look good at the same time.
Right.
So there's a lot of pressure on women to be all those things.
could we make that? How could we make that simpler? Just
That's a good
they'd
question.
have to stay at home or something, or they
Well,
don't want to do that.
No, I think you can't go backwards.
As an individual, you want to grow.
Yeah. I think you have to reframe what's important in your life and make it work. I think that's where relationships are partnerships. It's not a.
All right, and so when you're dealing with people and in counseling the way you do, and you're talking about relationships,
Right.
How do you help people? Do you just let them talk it out?
You have to realize that all relationships go through three stages. It doesn't matter what economic status you are. They go through this harmony, disharmony, and repair. And this most important stage for a couple is to do the repair work. And I help
Does
them.
it always happen?
It pretty much always happens in most relationships.
relationships,
They need some kind of repair work.
But I don't think people realize that.
Well,
Richard.
no.
I never
right.
knew it. The way you put it puts it in
Yeah.
something I can visualize.
Sure.
So repair, huh?
So repair is the most important stage. But a lot of couples don't have the tools to. So what do? We try to help them with communications, and stuff, sharing and stuff like that. So it's hard, you know. It's tough because people, you know, get locked into their own genders too.
Right.
You know, the majority of calls I get are from the female partner. First wanting to, because I think women have the emotional IQ that unfortunately, and I'm as a male, we don't have.
No.
I think they know what's necessary for.
But that's nurturing.
That's the nurturing part, which we
don't
are
have that.
No, we don't have it.
But don't you think that that's okay?
Given the opportunities, I think we can. I've met men who are just as nurturing as women.
All right.
But
should men
They
be
do it accept-
expected to nurture
they should.
the way women do? No.
But they have to be given the opportunities. Sometimes they aren't given those opportunities to nurture. You know.
I think we nurture in different ways. I think men want to take care of their
Yeah,
woman.
right.
That's their role,
Yes.
to take care of her, whether that's financial.
Right.
For some
No,
women
I
it is,
agree with you.
and some it's emotional.
I see two.
Don't do it if you're not willing to give it all
Yeah.
and take care of her.
Yeah.
Then get in a relationship.
You're right, Gino. There's two traits I see with pretty standard with men is they want to be good providers for their families. And during this past recession, it was mostly men were out of work, you know, from the trades and construction, and so it was called a man's session. You know, that was so many men were out of work. And the second trait with men is they want to be protectors of their family. And when they can't be either of those, those are hard.
The ego.
Yeah, hard things for men to
Yeah.
to deal with.
I think we pretty much figured it all out right here, didn't you?
I think so.
Hopefully people will see this and garner some
Right. Well,
some
hope
of
so.
the
you know.
knowledge, huh?
I hope so. Yeah.
Oh,
Good.
well, of
Hey,
course, but we won't
right.
get
Good.
too serious about it.
And great seeing you.
Good
too.
to see you,
Good
Richard.
to
I always like seeing you.
I know. Me too. That's good. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.